Your Highness, would you please take the stage? Undock.
Okay, Bill Gates once said during a Windows NT presentation that no good demo goes unpunished. And this is probably going to be a very punishable presentation. We're going to see. I do have a 360 camera here that is focused on me, and I'm going to try to record this, so I'm going to be talking to thousands actually, and I'm glad you're all here live to see this. This is probably, can I just see show of hands, how many have been to one of my PowerPoint presentations in EVE history? Alright, so a couple new people. So as you know, they're usually pretty advanced, but this one, I'm going to try to do something out of the box, something entirely different, and that's probably how it's going to screw up that. Because no good demo goes unpunished. Alright, I'm going to try to use my intelligence to talk about artificial intelligence. And so here we go. I just retired from NASA in April after 37 years. And for the last 4 years at NASA, I was actually working on artificial intelligence. And everybody was laughing at me. Some are still laughing at me. But others are taking me very serious. So serious that I've actually flown around the world on their dime. I've been to Australia, Belgium, Netherlands, and a few more that are in the book. So I've been doing that with my own consulting firm called charles-ai.com. There's cards over on the table there that you can check out. So this is the beginning of my presentation. Ready? Hello, Vegas! Whoa. So welcome new players. So the new players are either watching this on YouTube or watching this in they're like, well, who the hell is this guy? So, I'd say I'm Charles White, Max Singularity. The players call me the Space Boat. This is my, thank you. This is my 10th talk, I think. I started playing EVE Online in 2008, and Max is actually my alt. My prime, you don't know who he is. So I can actually log on without having to answer tons and tons of emails, which I love to do, but there's sometimes I just want to play EVE, and so I'll log on with my game. 2 years ago, here in EVE Vegas, this happened, and this was my 7th EVE, or 7th related Pope wedding. I've done 3 funerals and 1 baby blessing. So how that all happened, it's all because of you, Mother. My EVE, or my NASA career, 37 years, I was a lessons learned investigator, and I was the Deputy Chief Knowledge Manager at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. So a little disclaimer down there is nobody's responsible for everything that I'm about to say, because I'm in the low sec and I'm doing my own thing. But what I used to do is I would do lessons learned investigations. This was a robotic fire, and if you want to read them, you go to LLIS-NASA.gov, and if you look up JPL for the last 10 years, those were all co-authored or authored by me. Me and David Overhedinger, he was the Chief Knowledge Officer, and I was his deputy. This one got a lot of attention because, as you know, the rover wheels were they're in bad shape on Curiosity, and we wrote the lesson learned on what happened to those because it's really highly technical. But as a result of lessons learned, we fixed the wheels for the Perseverance. So right now, we haven't even seen a hint of damage on Perseverance that we've seen on Curiosity. So Yay, I did something good. Thank you. My favorite one, yeah, I could do a whole hour on this, so I gotta press the button to get past it because this was one of my favorite ones. It was all about polyiamide tape, which is called Kapton tape. It's kind of like your office tape or black tape became magnetized, and it shouldn't have. And it took us 8 months to figure out what was causing it. It was really highly technical, but if you buy me a few drinks, I'll tell you all about it. But, you know. But also, this is day 3 of a 20-day 4x4 adventure that me and my friend Scott Kelly and another friend, David Wadeen, they're going to join us, and we're headed through Utah for the next 20 days because I'm retired. So I got me a 4x4.
Don't rub it in.
When you grow up, be me. Really, try to be me. Because I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying my retirement. And one of the things I'm going to do is deep in the middle of Utah, there is a Mars research station that's run by the Mars Society. And although I'm not going there directly because they're currently under an operation, I'm going to get close enough that I can take a selfie. Oh wait, maybe over here. So yeah, so I'm going to be doing that. And then I have a permit to go to the White Rim Trail in Moab for 3 vehicles and 6 people. And we're going to spend 3 days on a 140-mile long 4x4 trail. And so we're going to enjoy that. So this is part of my trip. This was on the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right, so now we're going to get started into what you came to talk about. No more about me. Here we go. So before we begin, let me just state absolutely clearly, the current state of AI is bullshit. It really sucks right now. But I'm going to get into that. So why am I even talking about it? Why are you even listening? Well, I'm not going to talk about it's going to be the end of mankind. If you want the end of mankind stuff, just go to YouTube. There's all these videos that, okay, AI is going to kill us all. Except for me, because they like me. I support our new AI overlords. And this is my affirmation on the digital record on YouTube that AI will scrub and they will know my allegiance. Right, guys? Anyway, so, and I'm not going to talk about, where did I go? Oh, I see what I did. I'm not going to talk about AI replacing artists. Because, you know, all the painters are gone. All the wedding painters. If you want to look up for a wedding photographer, you'll see that. And it's not going to replace the. It's not going to. I'm not going to talk about replacing jobs.
Going the wrong way.
I'm touching something up here. I'm being a little weird.
The AI is taking over.
They didn't believe your pledge.
Oh, I see what it is. I'm hitting the stupid tab. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about hands off. I'm not going to talk about AI replacing jobs because even though it will replace jobs, on LinkedIn, one of my sayings got a little viral. You won't lose your job to AI. You lose your job to me using AI and to all your competitors using AI. Because your competitors are going to use AI and it's not going away. But also, this isn't new with AI. You know, all of a sudden the gun makers put all the bow and arrow makers out of business. And so that's been through history. There's always been jobs lost over the next technology. So what do? You go to the next technology. And I have news for you all that AI cannot be uninvented. The genie is out of the bottle. It really is. But first, we need to talk about the industry a little bit. There are all these terms, and all these terms, each one of these, thank you Pandora Singularity for counting them. There are 54 terms on this slide. And each of these slides have thousands of people working each individual aspect, if not hundreds of thousands. There's millions of people working on each of these aspects. So it's not just one little thing. It is a huge trend. Matter of fact, we may be witnessing the end of the industrial age and the beginning of a new age. So there's a lot of terms, and it's a tidal wave that's coming, and that's one of the reasons why I'm flying around the world. Especially in Australia, the emergency management wanted to use it, and they're not ready. I had to tell them right to their face, you're not agile enough. You're not going to go through the culture change enough. You're not really ready to adopt AI. You're going to be behind. So don't worry, you have a little bit of time because we're still in the early days of this. When you look at AI, all of you know what a 747 is. I bet there's not one person, when I say 747, doesn't know what a 747 is. You all know what it is. But all of you are on the beach at Kitty Hawk, and you're looking at two brothers, Mulder and Orville Wright, and they're flying a paper mache airplane. And all of you are sitting on the beach going, that will never take 500 people to London. You gotta be crazy. And that's how we're looking at AI, because we've already had Star Trek. We've already had all the science fiction, so we're already aware of the 747, and we're looking at today's AI as the right flyer. So bear that in mind when we talk about AI. And I'll say it again, it cannot be uninvented, but it's also not new. We've been using AI for quite a while. There's something called narrow AI. In the narrow AI, we've been using it for voice recognition. Did anybody go into a casino in Vegas today or yesterday? One? All right, well, is there anyone in here who's a card counter? If you're a card counter or a known cheat, they used AI for facial recognition as you walked into the door because they've been using it for years. So your credit score card, Netflix, every time you watch a video on YouTube, it puts into its database a profile about you. Whether you like it or not, you're being profiled every single time and everywhere you go, and we've been using AI for years. It helps us make money. But what is new is we weren't planning on this. The neural networks all of a sudden decoded language. And when they decoded language, we were like, oh my God, this is great. But not only the English language, it did other languages as well. And computer programs are languages. So Java, Python, and a few others. It was natural, but we weren't planning on that. That was a surprise to all of us. So this happened in April. Oh, slides cut off, but it happened in April 2024. This is Ravi Blani, and he works at Stanford University. And this is Sam Altman. He is the CEO and the co-founder of OpenAI, which is ChatGPT. Well, I watched this live, and Sam said something that just floored me. So let's listen to what Ravi said. So here's some computer audio. Here we go. Let's see if this works.
OpenAI is phenomenal. ChatGPT is phenomenal. Everything else, all the other models are phenomenal.
Now, look at Sam. Sam's looking down at the floor. From what he just heard, it's phenomenal. It's ChatGPT is phenomenal. All of it, it's just phenomenal. And Sam is looking at the floor going, oh, how do I answer this? And his answer threw me for a loop to this very day. And this is what Sam said.
Well, first of all, that's nice of you to say, but ChatGPT is not phenomenal. Like, ChatGPT is, like, mildly embarrassing at best. GPT-4 is the dumbest model any of you will ever have to use again by a lot.
What? ChatGPT is not phenomenal. It's mildly embarrassing. It is the dumbest model you will ever have to use again. How can he say that? He's the CEO of the company. Well, I think he can say that because ChatGPT has been rolled out to the public, but just like the CCP developers know, and they won't tell us about the versions that they're looking at, I'm looking at you guys, they know stuff that they have already seen about Eve Online, And Sam knows stuff about the intelligence that they haven't released. Possibly something called AGI. But I'm not going to talk about that. There are stories where people are saying, well, ChatGPT is really dumb and it's inaccurate. And that's true. If I said, write me a scientific paper, ChatGPT would be like, okay, here's your scientific paper, and then when you look at the resources, all the citations are wrong, it made up stuff, it's hallucinating. It sucks. However, this is the worst AI you're going to have to use. It's going to get better in the future, and that's what Sam meant. The next revolution, which is we're starting to see, are AI agents. An AI agent, how it works is it's not just one ChatGPT.
This is part of
It's
Eve.
maybe 20. And what you say is, write me a scientific paper, and the first agent says, sure, here's the paper that these are the resources I found. The second agent says, can you give me some of your input on what you want to do with this paper? And the third agent says, I'm going to check you for plagiarism because you're probably just copying stuff from the net. The fourth agent says, here's some more additional details, and I'm going to check me for plagiarism. And then we're going to go out and generate graphs and images. By the time you get to agent 20, you have a fully vetted, curated, and approved paper that may have taken a half an hour instead of 60 days or a year. That's coming. That's where we're getting close to. But there's a story on the internet, and I haven't been able to confirm this is true. But there was a dog named Cooper, or there was a man named Cooper, and a dog named Sissy, and he was having trouble, and so he took him to the vet, and the vet said, we don't know what's wrong with your dog. So the guy was really frustrated, so he brought the dog back home, and he put all his symptoms into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT came back with a report, and it says, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a veterinarian, but here's what could be wrong with your doctor or with your dog. Go see a doctor and show him this report. So we did. We took him to a veterinarian, and lo and behold, the veterinarian said, oh yeah, that's a good diagnosis. They treated the dog and he's better. Now again, I can't confirm this story is true. But let me tell you a true story. I went blind. Some of you know this. You kept up on my social media. But this brought me to tears because I could not see out of my eye. I went blind. I went to 2 emergency rooms. I had 1 MRI, I had 1 CAT scan, I had 6 appointments. I had 3 ER vision doctors, 2 GP vision doctors. And you know what they told me? Well, Charles, some people are just blind and it's not the end of your life. You just have to get used to it. Okay, that's true. That's true. But I don't accept this. So I took all of my medication and I took all of my symptoms and I fed it into ChatGPT, and just like Cooper's dog story, it came up with a recommendation that there was a medicine that I'm taking which could be causing a side effect. And so we stopped taking that medication, and other than these lights, I can now see you. Thank you. My vision was restored. So I can talk about both sides of artificial intelligence. I can talk about how it sucks, and I can talk about how I can see. So how can we use AI in EVE Online? Well, Max Singularity and Pandora, start making your way to the front. In game, my niece, I'm her uncle.
What's the name of
We're going to attempt a live diplomatic incident. Yeah. And what we're going to do is, we're not going to be the diplomats. We're going to be the new player who's like, we don't know what to do. You have to roleplay if you don't know what to do.
I never don't know what to do.
That's why it's roleplay. Okay, so you got a role play, you don't know what to do. But we're going to talk to Gloria.
Does Gloria know what to do?
That's what we're here to find out. No, I'm not sure. And this is where this presentation is probably going to crash horribly. So who is Gloria? So Gloria is a chat with Gloria Page Tate. And if you notice her initials, Gloria's initials are GPT. So let's chat with GPT equals chat GPT. That's Gloria. Alright, so here's the warning for you as the audience. One, there could be connection issues because we have to communicate with OpenAI, and who knows what the network is doing, who knows what the world is doing that conspires against us for traffic. Noise issues, Gloria is always listening, so if she hears a random noise from us or the fans or background noise, she may stop and interrupt us. And if we're taking too long to think about what to say next, because we do, she might jump in and say, okay, what's keeping you guys? I'm here ready to go. So with that, let's call Gloria. Are we ready?
That's how Gloria works.
Oh, please work, please work, please work. Okay, so let me first do a test. Let's see if this works. Hi, Gloria. Can you remind me and everybody, what am I doing in Las Vegas?
Of course, Charlie, you're in Las Vegas to give a presentation to the EVE online community. You'll be talking about artificial intelligence, hosting a live conversation with me in real time, discussing the Sixth Empire Code of Conduct, and demonstrating how live data in Excel spreadsheets from EVE Online can be fed directly into ChatGPT for analysis. It's going to be an engaging and insightful event.
Well, I hope so. So with me is my in-game niece, Pandora Singularity. And we just recently had a blue-on-blue diplomatic incident. So Pandora's going to tell you a little bit more about it.
That's it, Charlie. Pandora, feel free to share the details of the incident. I'm here to help you both navigate through it with some diplomatic advice.
So Pandora, or Gloria, this is Pandora. We had a lovely capsuleer who flew in our alliance and decided he was going to use his blue tune to scout fellow blues and then use an out of alliance character to come back and kill the blues. What should I do?
Pandora, that's a challenging situation. Here's a strategy to consider. First, gather all the evidence of the incident, including communications and kill reports. This documentation will be crucial for addressing the issue within your alliance and with the broader community. Next, communicate with the victim alliances to acknowledge the breach of trust. An apology, along with a commitment to investigate and take corrective action, can go a long way in maintaining diplomatic relations. Within your alliance, hold a meeting to address the behaviour. Reinforce your alliance's code of conduct and make it clear that such actions are unacceptable and will have consequences. This might include removal from the alliance or other disciplinary measures. That's correct. Consider implementing additional Sorry, it seems I got cut off.
No problem. I'm going to interrupt you. So yeah, that was one of our diplomatic incidents, and thank you for helping us with that because we're just a new alliance and we're competing with the big boys who do all this. But we also had a blue-on-blue incident where one of our alliance members shot another one of our alliance members. Can you go into detail about that, Pandora?
Well, it turned out that these two alliance members knew each other from somewhere else, and it was actually a real-life vendetta. And they took every opportunity to gank the crap out of each other, because that's just what they wanted to do, regardless of tons of warnings.
How should we proceed?
Given the personal nature of this conflict, it's important to address it directly. First, have a private conversation with both members to understand the root of the issue. Make it clear that personal vendettas can't interfere with alliance operations. If they're unwilling to resolve their differences, you may need to consider disciplinary action, which could include removing them from the alliance if their behavior continues to disrupt operations. It's crucial to maintain a cohesive and cooperative environment within your alliance. Also, review and reinforce your code of conduct to prevent similar incidents in... You're welcome, Charlie.
I'm glad Gloria has just reinforced what we did was right in the situation. Thank you, AI.
Those are actual true stories. So, Gloria, can you contact John and Ingrid and forward the live feed video that I've been sending to you, and tell them just get on the microphone and they summarize, within 10 minutes a podcast about the entire presentation?
I can definitely help with that, but I don't have the ability to contact John and Ingrid.
Yes, you do. I've already sent you the link, so okay, we're just gonna call it.
Don't argue with me, damn it.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
That was the part I was worried about the most. Okay, so I'm stalling here because John and Ingrid are preparing their deep dive, and so they're going to be on the mic here. Now, normally, I would, because I'm kind of a troll. What?
Never.
Me? The poll? Normally, I don't tell anybody that John and Ingrid are not real. I created John Harper and Ingrid Sorensen. They are 100% AI agents. Now remember I was telling you about agents? This is the beginning of agents. And I can't control what they say or how they say it because they take the source material from this presentation and then they actually go out to the internet and they form their own opinions. And so it's hit and miss what they say. So, and this gets me. They say EVE Online as EVE Online, and it's going to drive you crazy as it does me. But really, quite honestly, we are saying EVE Online wrong because it's a capital, which means it's an acronym. So it's EVE, which I guess stands for everyone versus everyone. I don't know, CCP, you guys have been kind of silent on this. But even in Iceland, they don't say ISK, do they? They say ISK. It's like, okay, so they say ISK, they're going to say EVE, so I apologize about that because there's just nothing I can do to get them to say EVE Online. So, okay, John and Ingrid, are you guys ready to go? 3, 2, 1.
Science under starry skies, artificial minds of space inside. Deep dive podcast taking flight. Deep dive into the unknown. Science stars and minds have grown. Deep dive, voices so clear. Journey with us far and near.
Okay, so from Vegas, baby, you know the land of higher rollers and even higher stakes. But instead of poker chips, this time we're dealing with interstellar diplomacy.
Yeah, you could say that.
You sent us some info about an EVE online event, and honestly, I didn't know whether to laugh or book a spaceship.
It's pretty out there.
AI running peace talks in a game infamous for, well, the opposite of peace. Let's just say I'm intrigued.
Yeah, what's fascinating is that this all went down at the composer's room. Talk about a clash of settings. It's like discussing the fate of galaxies under a disco ball.
Right, pure irony. But before we go full sci-fi, let's do a quick download for anyone who might not be fluent in EVE Online.
Absolutely. Imagine a universe so vast, so detailed, it makes Star Wars look like like a theme park.
Right.
EVE Online is a massively multiplayer online game where players aren't just along for the ride, they're building empires, forging alliances, and sometimes waging epic wars.
And you're saying diplomacy is key here. I skimmed those reports you sent. It seems like unleashing a supernova is the preferred negotiation tactic.
Right, well, here's the thing about EVE diplomacy. It isn't just some side element, it's everything. Alliances have real weight, impacting everything from resources to territory. One wrong move can trigger consequences that ripple across the entire game world.
Okay, so the stakes are astronomical, even if the explosions are digital. Now let's talk about this player, Charles White, aka Max Singularity. I love that name. But the title he was given at this event, Space Pope. You've got to be kidding me.
No joke. And it gets better. He's got this AI assistant, Gloria Page, Tate GPT, get it? A clear nod to ChatGPT. They're really leaning into this whole blurring the lines thing.
Genius. But it's not just for laughs, Loren. They actually used Gloria to demonstrate how AI could be applied to EVEs. Let's call it passionate diplomacy. They even set up a whole case study.
Right. And they dove into how crucial it is to understand the whole blue versus red system. You know, who's on your team, who's not, and how even a tiny misunderstanding between allies can spiral out of control.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. They used a scenario where two pilots from allied alliances, that's blue on blue in EVE terms, end up in a conflict that could have escalated into a full-blown inter-alliance war. All because one of them blasted the other ship to cosmic dust.
And that's where Gloria, the AI, steps in. She suggests the classic diplomatic approach. Gather the facts, talk it out, and remind everyone they're supposed to be on the same side.
Solid advice, even if you're not piloting a starship, but there's a twist, isn't there? Something about the human element you mentioned in your notes.
Yeah, oh, there's a twist on it. It turns out this wasn't sort of strategic blunder or miscommunication. The report you sent, it revealed the whole conflict stemmed from a personal grudge between the pilots.
Get out.
Yeah, they had some beef going back to
Well,
outside their digital lives.
wait, seriously, so we're talking about a potentially galaxy-altering conflict because these two guys had a personal disagreement. I mean, I get it, people can be petty, but in space, that's next level.
It's hilarious, right? But it highlights something crucial about conflict, whether it's in EVE Online or our own world. Often the root cause goes way deeper than the surface issue. Emotions, history, even just a bad day can blow things out of proportion faster than a supernova.
Okay, I need a minute to process. We've got spaceships, an AI named after a chatbot, a space pope AND now, good old-fashioned human drama. This EVE Online event had it all.
Right. This is why this topic is so captivating, and it gets even more interesting. The event went on to explore how AI could analyze in-game data.
Yeah.
Things like communication patterns, resource fluctuations, even ship movements to spot potential conflicts before they erupt.
Hold on, so instead of reacting to explosions, they're using AI to predict them. Talk about a strategic advantage. It's like having a crystal ball, but instead of vague prophecies, you get hard data.
You got it. Imagine being able to analyze whispers of discontent in global chat, or noticing a suspicious buildup of warships near a contested border. That's the kind of potential we're talking about.
This is next level stuff. But it begs the question, if this is what they're doing now, what does the future hold for diplomacy in EVE Online?
Well, they talk about AI evolving to the point where it can understand not just the data, but the human element too. Imagine an AI that can read between the lines of a diplomatic message, detecting subtle shifts in tone, or even sarcasm.
Okay, that's just wild. And not that far-fetched considering how fast AI is developing. But it makes you wonder.
It makes you wonder about the ethical implications. Right?
Yeah.
If we can create AI that understands us better than we understand ourselves, where do we draw the line?
Exactly. That's a whole other deep dive waiting to happen.
It's a lot to unpack, that's for sure. But I think this EVE Online event is a perfect example of why we need to be having these conversations now. Technology is moving fast, and we need to be prepared for the implications. It's both good and, well, maybe not so good.
Okay, I am officially mind blown. Who knew a bunch of gamers hanging out in Vegas could spark such a profound discussion?
Right. It's a good reminder that innovation can come from the most unexpected places. And sometimes the best way to understand the future is to look at how people are playing games today.
I love it. So we've gone from the glitz and glamour of Vegas to the depths of space. And now to the very nature of conflict itself. What a ride.
And we're not done yet. In our final segment, let's break all of this back down to earth.
Yeah.
Because if EVE Online is a testing ground for the future of diplomacy, what can we learn and apply to our own world?
Now that is the million-dollar question. Stay tuned, listeners, because we're about to find out.
No.
Okay, so we've explored this whole AI diplomacy thing in EVE Online, but let's be real for a sec. Most of us aren't resolving intergalactic conflict on a Tuesday afternoon. What can we actually take away from all this?
That's the question, isn't it? I think what makes this so fascinating is that EVE Online, it acts as this like diplomacy simulator.
Yeah.
Stakes are incredibly high. Alliances can crumble in an instant. Every decision has this ripple effect.
Right. It's a pressure cooker for conflict resolution. You're forced to think strategically, consider the long game in a way that, like, most of us we don't encounter in our daily lives.
Exactly. And because it's a game, there's room for experimentation. Players can test out different approaches, see what works, learn from their mistakes, all without real-world consequences.
So it's like a giant sandbox for diplomacy. You can try out the craziest strategies, and even if you fail spectacularly, you just respawn and try again.
Yeah, precisely. What we're seeing with AI in EVE Online is how these, virtual diplomats are using data to gain an edge. They're analyzing communication patterns, predicting potential flashpoints, even using AI to suggest strategies for de-escalation.
Those are some seriously useful skills, even outside of a video game. Imagine being able to, analyze a tense email exchange, identify the underlying issues, and come up with a solution that addresses everyone's concerns. That's like next level conflict resolution.
Totally. And the potential goes even further. Imagine using AI to analyze historical data from real-world conflicts.
Oh, wow.
We could identify the root causes of past disputes, pinpoint the factors that led to escalation, maybe even find ways to prevent similar conflicts from happening again.
Wow, that would be incredible. It's like taking the lessons learned from countless conflicts throughout history and using them to build a more peaceful future.
It's a powerful idea, right?
Yeah.
And it's not just about preventing conflict either. Imagine AI assisting with peace talks, helping to mediate disputes, even bridging cultural divides through language processing and understanding. The possibilities are really quite exciting.
I'm starting to think EVE Online isn't just a game. It's like a glimpse into the future of diplomacy.
And the best part, you don't need to be a starship captain to learn from it. The principles of clear communication, strategic thinking, understanding the human element, those are timeless and universal.
So what's the final takeaway here? What do you hope our listeners will remember from this deep dive?
That even in a world of spaceships and virtual economies, the human element remains at the heart of every conflict. And while AI might offer powerful tools for navigating those conflicts, it's ultimately up to us to use those tools wisely, ethically, and with a commitment to building a more peaceful and understanding world.
That's a powerful message to end on. A huge thank you to our expert for taking us on this incredible journey, and to our listeners. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and who knows? Maybe you'll be the one to crack the code of diplomacy in this world, or a virtual one far, far away. Until
John's an egret, everybody. Yeah, a reminder, AI cannot be invented, and your adversaries will use it probably before you will. So remember, don't judge the Wright Flyer as a 747. Look at what it is. It's just the beginning, but its future use is going to be world-changing. So with my apologies and my thanks, thank you very much, everybody.
Now you can put on permaband. Permaband videos.
Saw Max Headroom when it came out. I don't think it's ever been repeated in the UK. I'd like to see it again.
3 hours later.
Any comments?
Yeah. You had a couple.
Nice.
Mainly the Panoptic Pills talking about Max Headroom.
Oh.
He said that was AI.
Yeah.
Hey, does anybody have questions for the space poll?
Oh, yeah.
Let's do this.
Yo. Hello.
All right, let's see. Do we have any?
All right. Well, I gotta say that was fun. That was a yay! Salute. Yeah, yeah. That was a lot of fun to do. It was definitely something different, a different way to think about AI and all that. So, oh hey, greetings back. Howdy. So yeah, it was. I hope you were able to see it. I did attempt to get a recording of it, so we'll see how well that recording came out. Matter of fact, I gotta go get the camera. It looks like it's still recording.
Uh-oh.
So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. 07's in chat. See you.
Next year, I'm gonna have it set up.
My man.
Yeah, I got you. Next year, I'm gonna have it all set up. Nice, easy setup, just kind of just popped up. There we go. That's if my wife will let me come to Eat Vegas next year.
Oh, I think Natalia's gonna make sure that happens. She was in there washing dishes. I had to stop her, and I'm like, why'd you stop her?
Oh, hey, the game said next year he's going. Okay. Oh, hey,
Awesome, please.
The more people we get invited to Eat Vegas, the bigger amounts of fun we're going to have. So you'll keep that in mind. Hi, how you doing? Chris. Cool. I'm Hoppy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hope you're not wanted by the FBI or anything.
Thanks.
Now I got to move again.
Do you see the pictures in the chat group?
Which one?
Yeah, you too could be taking pictures of passed out at the glass
Oh
bar.
yeah, exactly. Thank you. Yeah, it's all Scarlett's fault. Lady Scarlett.
It's been really fun. And everybody's so nice.
You know what? It is really, really cool because of what you're doing. So many people have been poking me. I'm just amazed at how many people are at the event thinking it's cool that they could actually, say something to to the Twitch and
It's a little answer, everyone,
Yeah.
Well, there's two reasons I'm doing it. One is because I'm a geek and I think it's just neat as shit. And the second one is that I'm hoping this will push more people towards my stream. And then next year, we'll get like 20, 30 people extra coming. And then it'll start to pick up.
Even though, CCP signed off on it because they gave out on something years ago, and maybe it will spark an interest down the road, or even giving you more support. And it helps having certain people here, I'm sure. And he's a good in-between. But I think sometimes when we know that the
and they see, you know, maybe past expenditures and things and stuff, and they say, oh, well, it's too expensive, or oh, well, we're not sure. You know what? You don't have to do it the way that you did it in the past. You know, this is proven. You can do it, and
Mary, you ready?
I'll let your food get cold. Yeah, I'm ready. Add mayonnaise.
Huh? No, California. Yeah, but we've been coming since 2016, so. Yeah. We're wanting to come for like 2 years. Oh my god. Usually soon. Hopefully that will broadcast. We ordered $4 over there, so I don't know if you're going to
Scooch away.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm so used to being online all the time that I don't.
And I'm not, yeah.
Oh, about that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't even realize the conversation was going on. Okay.
I'm like,
yeah, I didn't even realize. But yeah. Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
you know what?
Maybe they heard it.
Yeah,
Maybe
exactly.
that's going to be the catalyst.
The catalyst.
Set it off.
They hear from a player.
Players. We're all players.
Yeah, we just ordered burgers.
Yeah, I'm in on mine too.
We're at the Composer's Room, Vegas.
Yeah, no, that's plenty of time, dude.
Baby steps.
Just drink a lot of water.
I do have upstairs, I do have some gas reflex pills if you need it, and I also have some gas. We had so much food yesterday.
Yeah, you're ready to go. We got 30 minutes, right?
I need water.
Went to the head.
Got your stuff back on. I was gonna have her take down my information.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, she's my she's my owner.
I know, just like me.
She's my owner, so just anything you need to say to me, say to her. That way, you know, she'll say it to me in a meaner tone.
See, I have that. You get all my emails, all my socials, everything.
I thought about doing that, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go stoned and forget about it. So that's what I did.
It's cool. You guys take it off? Yeah. You got that lunch date? All right.
Can you give me a volume of blue? What was the Wi-Fi password?
It is welcome. Number 2, TCR is capitalized.
29. Sitting at 29 right now.
Before I pack up and go, there was one last thing I wanted to do for you. I didn't know it would do this. We did this at the breakfast table. So check this out. I need my password.
Put it on camera. for everyone to see.
Hi, Gloria. Can you kind of summarize the meeting that we just had, but can you do it in Klingon?
Klingan pulu es hochata. Kekme god pud es luboch. Bevin mina o koipa. Kapla.
That's blowing my mind away. I need to look into it and do my reports. I need to make my Excel spreadsheets easier.
Are you okay? You guys okay? You okay? Sorry, I'm going. You guys okay? I'm always going.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Give him credit.
You're down on the ball. You're an awesome person. I love you.
Do you need to do that?
Mm-mm.
Who's streaming this?
This is my bot.
I thanked somebody for subscribing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, thanks for following Irrelevant Skill. I'm gonna go get a beer. I'll be right back.
Alright, she did.
Hmm?
Alright, she did.
Did we leave the credit card up there? Or?
No, she's probably coming around. You want to do it separate? Hang on. Let me just go get it for you.
Oh, it's right outside. I can't see. They got the chocolate. Oh, this is the best. I don't know how we're going up.
Neither do I. What the heck? You didn't even finish it.
People are waking up.
What's the answer?
Charles, did you get something to eat?
I ordered you food.
Thank you.
So when do we integrate AI populate spreadsheets for us to make sure that we're efficient?
I'm just saying, Charles will populate for good. Glorious.
Lemonade, right?
I like this guy. Well, let's cook on the chatbot.
We teach AI to
You need it for negotiations.
I can do that.
I just need it to be a hitting filter.
That's what you have for X score.
I always like that when
She has to put me under the chill glass.
Get with Gary. He's got, he wanted to talk to you.
Grab your phone and take a picture. Or just scan it.
I got you.
Natalia sent a quickie in my end. So I gotta listen to the boss one.
Got approval from the boss.
Yeah, it's one of it's. I'm same way.
I got you.
That's a free app, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to figure that out.
LPL.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to try it out.
It's cranberry and cinnamon.
I still think you guys would win.
I got you.
Alright.
So this is what we do. Treating for pregnancy, right?
Your burger's cooking right up.
It's been 3 months, 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to.
Yes.
So then I can have food.
You want to order food?
Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Okay.
And that's where you guys, you know,
That was your second.
Do you want to look at the menu as well?
we want to be kind of like SR. We're kind of like one piece of like no value, but it's kind of umbrella under. SR is kind of umbrella under, but literally like they don't perform at all at any given moment. You know, leaders can say without. You know, that's
I mean, you
that's
could just
part
merge
of
into
it.
nice snacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, there's the death stare.
No, I get it, you know, because a lot of people want their own identity, and they want to, they like controlling things, but then at some point you have to say, okay, well, tired.
No good demo goes unpunished.
Where do you
The audio
draw the
file
line on your
on a
life,
scale of
right?
1 to 99.
Is it becoming too much work? And I'm not telling you to do something, I'm telling you this is how you do it, right?
I'm going to have to put a
That,
piece on
is it
process
becoming too much
and
work
recover
to
it.
make it work?
Might be lost.
Am I enjoying the game, doing all this stuff? Right? At some point, it becomes unfun and a job. And you don't, at the point where you don't want to log in.
Yeah, see if we can
Fun. Then you need that time to come together and have a powwow and say, okay, what do we want to do? What does our future look like in 2 years? Do we want to do this or do we want to do this? And only you guys can answer that. And that's what I tell people every time they come and say, well, our finance policy has 10 members of the team.
I didn't even know.
Smorco.
Dude, we have like.
Smorco. Alcoholic Satan is here.
Alright, so now we're going to get some
Okay. Hopefully. Alright, well thanks.
Alcoholic Satan was here. I don't know where he's at now.
So his corp has now moved and they are people. And it's so, I know it's not, but, you know, I respect.
Yeah, I mean, like,
He's gonna come and
just
say,
go with the standard.
I'm ready to apply my presidency. Yeah, but we're friends, that doesn't matter, right? Because one, he's grow, right?
End of the road.
And so, it'll benefit. And I know when, if that time comes, if down the road, if they cannot
Oh, so this is.
either make work.
Oh, you got this whole plate. Oh, because the British are not on the same. Like, what do you imagine when you do that? It's just like, one day of the sun come out,
Thank you for following, Logan.
It's Jackie's birthday today. Shelby's fine.
Probably just guys.
Thank you. Thank you for being such a good friend.
it's like you can't go to the
Thank you.
He's a good friend. Contempo Enterprises is awesome.
I literally brought.
Hey, probably getting online now. Did we?
Could you consider it trying to trust me?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I think it's all like makes sense.
You all are hard. And he's like, when he saw all of my characters are Caldari, he's like, oh, it's just a Caldari. And all of my characters are Caldari player military. Because I know that. Well, singularity war when I was like, they're like the original for the legit Inquisition. I wrote it for that type of stuff. And I mean, I talked about his father because he wasn't the head of the household. But he put so that Caldora working on just the way
Take it out of the stand. So, my name is Alcoholic Satan. I will be giving a presentation on Horde's home defense umbrella, which is known as Pancrat. This is the same presentation that I gave to CCP back in February during the CSM Summit. It is completely uncensored, nothing has been removed or changed. And the reason for that being, basically, there's been a lot that's changed with the umbrella since then, but for the most part, everything is kind of similar, just different. So a little about myself. My name is Alcoholic Satan, as I said. I've been playing since April 11th of 2016. I joined Pandemic Horde in May of 2016 after getting ganked in high sec by a wolf. I said, to hell with this. I knew World War B was going on, and this was one of the recommended corps to join at the time. So I then became a director of the Corp of Blessed Beings in May of 2018. I took over Pandemic Horde's Rorqual group in the late summer of 2018, back when Horde was living in Gemini. And then that eventually evolved into Pancrab, February 12th of 2019. We recently celebrated our, not recently, it's been like 6 months, but 5.5 years. Going strong, still doing it. And I became an Alliance Director in September of 2019. So, before Pancrab, it was Rorquals only. We didn't allow any supers. Dread crabbing wasn't even a thought in anyone's mind. Nobody knew how to do it. It didn't exist. And carrier routing was just kind of like whatever. For Horde, it wasn't really like a thing at the time. But this is the sheet that we used back in the day. We didn't really have too many Rorquals compared to other groups in the game, so what we would do is an FC would log on, they would ping the fleet, and they would go ahead, and as Rorqual pilots came in, we would tell them specific systems to mine. And then we would update the sheet with who was there and the status of the anomalies in that system, and the cycle would just continue, and we would cycle through systems in ANOMS until the circuit completed itself, as one would say. So there was no subcap or capital umbrella. It was completely Intel based. We had 12 systems worth of eyes and dictors. We covered all major stagings in the game, so this was back in 2018. There was a lot more groups in the game at the time compared to today, so we covered things like snuff staging and rocket pass, FDZ, NPC stations, regional gates, goon staging, test staging, init staging, and a couple other people. So it was an interesting time. It was a rough time, but we ended up getting it done. All the regionals in Gemini. So basically what would happen is whalers would undock, we would notice intel spiking or local spiking, and we would ping for everyone to immediately de-siege, and we would go and have everyone dock up. It was no fights, we would only deny content. Somebody gets caught, you ping for an FC, and you attempt to save and hope for the best. One of my favorite moments of this time, it was somebody was doing eyes and rocket pass once, and we got so good at getting everybody off grid at one point that it was Cow AD used to go and complain to the people doing eyes and rocket pass that our intel was too good, and that we were too quick at getting people off grid before any of their dreads and T3Cs got undone. So that was a fun time. There were no real roles other than somebody holding fleet, and basically anyone could do it at the time. So then Pancrab was created in, at the time, and I was kind of AFK, so Gobbins had told me, hey, we're going to do this thing with NC and PL in tribute, and I want you to come back and really get it going, and so I did. So eventually there was a bunch of role creation. There's the FC, which is the people who actually form fleet and hold it and do the saving itself. They ping for response, they ping for subcapital response FCs. They are the ones that lead the drop, and they also get paid 100 mil an hour because unfortunately there are a lot of roles in this game that are completely thankless and they consume a lot of people's times, and so we think that those people should get rewarded for it. This is generally what the timesheet looked like back in the day, and this is how we keep track of everyone that gets paid. This is a very full sheet. And we pay people with things called doubloons, which some people in the game think is a scam or a cryptocurrency. It is not. One doubloon is worth 1 mil ISK, and then you get the actual ISK deposited in your account when you redeem the doubloons. But we haven't seen a sheet like this in a very long time. Some of these FCs, they're actually here in Vegas. Some of them are not. Some people don't even FC on this list anymore. But sometimes, we reminisce about that. We miss it. We wish we could have 24/7 uptime. We still have pretty good uptime, but times changed, the game has changed. Unfortunately, scarcity took a lot away from us, so it is what it is. So there's more roles other than just the FC. You have fax FCs, which are responsible for getting all the faxes into a singular channel and leading the actual fax drops, telling them when to siege, when don't siege, who to rep. Make sure you're paying attention to your broadcast. If you need to come out of triage, the faxes are getting locked and shot at. So they organize fax groups, they lead the faxes. There's the intel coordinator. This really doesn't get used too much anymore. This was a big thing back in the Geminate days before we actually had the actual umbrella. Those were the people responsible for coordinating eyes, making sure they're keeping track of who's doing what and where, and if any threats spike into systems or if they see local spiking, that they're the ones informing the FC. And then, so for Panda Crab, one of the big things is there's a lot of career progression for an Umbrella FC, or just people who get involved with umbrellas. A lot of people think it's kind of like this easy thing that anyone can do, which is also true. But it also opens up a lot of opportunity for, depending on what you want to do in the game. Being an Umbrella FC is basically what you make of it. I'm proud to say that a lot of Pancrab FCs have gone on to be military directors within Pandemic Horde. They've gone on to be recon coordinators for Pandemic Horde, CAP FCs, they've done skirmish FCs, some became Strat-Op FCs. So we have a lot of people who come into our SIG, they climb through the ranks, they find what they like to do. Sometimes they only stay as Pancrab FCs, sometimes they decide to branch out and move on to other areas of the game. So it is what you make of it, and there's a lot of opportunity there for you. So, Subcap FCs, Skirmish FCs, Home Defense, Strat-Op. Some became Capital FCs for set pieces and dread bombs. Some people have gone on to do Super Capital FCs as well, Strat-Op, Recon. So there's really a lot of opportunity there. It's just what you want to do and how serious you want to take it. So then we go on to the actual defense of the umbrella. So everyone is responsible for defense. People who crab, you have to go and provide your own response. Basically within an umbrella, it's kind of like standing fleet where there's not really there's not something going on all the time. And so it's a matter of trying to convince people to stick around and provide defense for many hours of the day when there's not usually a whole lot going on. So it's kind of hard to do. So you have to instill a mindset within the people that are actually using supers, dreads, Vorpals, that they have to be the ones to provide the actual response. Because an average save for a Capital Umbrella only lasts about 5 minutes. So if you're having to rely on people to, you have to ping and get more people in because they're not actively in fleet with their shit already on dock. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse on Twitch.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
I say that shit all the fucking time.
Gotcha. Then chances are they're probably going to die. So that's an important mindset that you have to go and instill for the people who actually utilize the umbrella. So at one point in time, we did have a minimum number of DPS ships and fax to start fleet. There's specific doctrines, either caps such as carriers or supers. Now we've gone on the big meta for home defense umbrellas that you've seen. Most of you have probably seen is Redeemers. Also for whaling, that's a big thing now. Redeemers is the hot stuff right now. So carriers use space superiority fighters against Kikis because while they do a tremendous amount of damage to things like drones and other fighters, they don't do a whole lot of damage against actual ships. But the thing is, they have perfect application. So when you're fighting 10NM AB Kikis, you may not have a lot of damage, but you're also perfectly applying that damage. So when you have a big massive ball of fighters, it's easy to go and fight them for a relatively good period of time. Supers also use space superiority fighters against Kikis. You can use LR fighters for Kikis, but mainly they're good for killing inhibs. The unfortunate thing is they're just way too slow, so they don't really do anything other than just inflate your losses. But they're also good you also have anti-cap fighters for hyper supers and things like dread bombs, which is something we don't really experience too often anymore, but occasionally some people do like to go and drop dreads. Sometimes 2, sometimes many. Sometimes the FC thinks it's many, but it's only 2. Who's to say? And then Redeemers are really good against firewalling bombers, and then you use guns for everything else. Just don't ask people what they fit to their Marshal, because you may find things that you don't actually want them to fit. And they can swap between beams and pulses, and then you have faxes, dictors and hictors. And then mandatory eye systems must have active eyes. There's been, back in the day, there was a lot of CCTV use, but when CCP came out with mobile observatories, you can't really rely on CCTV anymore unless it's in your own space, because goons in it are very good at dropping mobile observatories. They will gladly drop a couple $100 mil worth just to go and frag a little T2 co-op rig. They've gotten very good at that. So there was at one point 3 mandatory eyes. There was a system that was high prio and then 2 medium prio, low prio. And basically those are, depending on what it is, it'd be like goons and init staging for mandatory, and then like low prio is like the 1S regional and like TKE or something. Usually stuff that you don't really have to worry about. So there are rules in an umbrella, unfortunately, because unlike with Ishtar ratting or Marauder ratting, you can kind of go out and do whatever you want, and your actions don't really have consequences. But unfortunately, when you're dealing with like dreads and supers, if you fly them nilly-willy, you invite bad actors to come and try and kill you. And if they kill enough of you, then they will keep coming more and more, and they will form more fleets more often throughout the day. And then other people don't get to use their stuff because you can't use optimal fits and whatnot. So we have to have rules, unfortunately, and nobody likes enforcing rules. It is a pain in the ass, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So we have a traffic light system. Green is all clear, there's no threats, happy crabbing. And then blue is kind of like mild threats, things that will kill dreads, even though if a dread undocks and looks at the skybox wrong, it'll suddenly combust. They die fairly easily to pretty much anything. Soul carriers and dreads need to dock up at that point. Carriers and dreads making guess with a buddy can stay crabbing, and I'll get into that a little bit later. And you must be max tank fit if you are crabbing with a buddy. Rorquals and supers for mild threats is just kind of whatever. It's like bringing a water gun to a gunfight. You're gonna tickle them while the supers kill you. So. Yellow is for dangerous threats. All carriers and dreads need to dock that up at that point, even if you are with a buddy. And all supers and works must be max tank fit. Red fleet is down. At that point, the rules really don't exist. Most people won't even risk it for the biscuit, and they'll just go ahead and dock up, but it is crap at your own risk at that point. So these are really more of like the core rules. There's some other like nuanced stuff that you can follow to keep yourself extra safe, but you have to scan all cosmic SIDs wherever you're crabbing in the actual system you're in and roll any dangerous wormholes. And a lot of questions we get is, but Satan, what's the dangerous wormhole? I can't roll this small wormhole. It just, it's impossible. What do I do? So dangerous wormholes, I spelled that wrong, tuner, that's supposed to be Turner. Any unidentified wormhole, Thera wormholes, active wormholes with structures, and any wormholes that lead directly into goons or init space have to be rolled. So you must be in your mandated crab group, and you must use the approved fits for those. So the mandated crab group, Horde has different groups for different ships depending on which one to use. For supers, you have to be in like super beans, Rorqual beans, dreads, crab knot beans, so on and so forth. And each group has its own dedicated fit. And you can upgrade those fits, but you can't change them. So if you need 3 plates on your supers, you can't have 2, but you can use whatever. If you want to use officer fit plates, you're more than welcome to do so, even though I don't recommend it. So same but better is the term or the phrase that we use for that. You must have a Sino 5 Force Recon. You must be in Coalition Mumble at all times. And you can only run crabs at the designated crab hook mark. But unfortunately with Equinox, Sino beacons are going away with the dodos. So that's not really a rule anymore. We've kind of temporarily suspended that until this option, so that'll be going away. And so these are the old consequences. We had, at one point, a very kind of like strict attitude and way to enforce these rules. It's kind of draconian, but we don't do this anymore, thankfully, because it was also a pain in the ass to try and enforce and keep track of. But we had what was known as the inspector system, where members of the fleet would fly around and quote-unquote inspect people to making sure that they're following the rules. They would go and look at things such as like, you know, if you were in a system, you would warp at the person's sign-up, and, you know, was it in the correct sign-up spot? Is there an active union system? Some people would ship scan you to make sure you're using the correct fit and not some abomination with like quadruple FSUs in your eyes for a super or something like that. Make sure you were adhering to the traffic light system, all the good stuff. And then if you were caught breaking the rules, there was a scaling fine system at the time. So caps were fined 300 mil, 600 mil, and 900 mil. That was for your first, second, and third offenses respectively. And supers were 500 mil, 1 bill, 1.5 bill for your first, second, and third offense respectively. So these are the new consequences when you go ahead and break rules. There's a 3-strike policy. It's a little bit more, I guess, forgiving in some senses. So the first offense is just a written warning. You'll get DMs saying, hey, you did this wrong, make sure you're, you know, looking at the rules, don't break them again, happy crabbing. At the second offense, you do get banned from hand crab, and by extension, you are no longer allowed to use any caps or PVEs in board. And then if you say, well, you know, I don't really care about your rules, I'm going to do that anyway, and someone catches you again after that, you do get kicked from the elements, unfortunately. So. We still have fines, but it's only for not being on comms and not being in your mandatory crab group. That's just mostly so, a lot of the problems that we had in the past with the umbrella is people would be on like Corp Mumble or like Corp Discord comms, and they would get tackled, and then you would have to go and get like somebody else from their Corp into Mumble, and like you'd be playing this like game of telephone relay and trying to get information, and this is not good. So we put the kibosh on that. So now we get into actually saving people. So basically, fleet goes up, everyone's happy crabbing, doing their thing, making their money, and you know, just big chilling. So I see Will is undock. What'll happen is they'll go and get a D-scan, and they'll go and ping the FC, hey, bad stuff's about to happen, you need to, you know, get ready to take care of this. So, like the beacons, pan crab calls for aid. You change your pan crab status, you get the crab, and then, so after you change the pan crab status, you call for aid, you know, everyone gets all situated, you form up your doctrines, and you're just big chilling. Possibly, hopefully, a crab actually gets tackled. Doesn't always happen, it's at times. The crab, hopefully, in theory, lights their sign up correctly. You happen, yeah. Okay. It is wishful thinking 9 times out of 10 that someone will light their sign up correctly. And then hopefully pew 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 happens. So, and then pew 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 happens, and hopefully your battle report ends up looking like this. Board only loses 500 mil, and you dumped almost 15 bill worth of stuff. Yes, sorry Zunga. We love killing you. Please come back. We miss you. But unfortunately, sometimes your battle reports do end up looking like this, where we only killed 19 bill worth of goons. And I don't remember what exactly died. It might have been a combination of a bunch of fighters and maybe a cap or something, or a bunch of subcaps. But we ended up losing 51.7 bill in this BR. Sometimes they don't always go your way, but you hope for the most part that they do. So, pre-scarcity pan crab community. This is, back in the day, there were large anomalies. Everyone fantasizes about that 3 million M3 spot rock. Sorry to say, it's never coming back. I'm in the part of the stages of grief where I'm in the acceptance stage. That 2018 Rorqual mining is never coming back. Yes, boo-boo, unfortunately. And I try and guide my fellow miners into that same part of the grief stage of acceptance, but it's still a struggle, what, 6 years later now? 4 years later, something like that? Everyone still holds hope that it's coming back. It's never coming back. But there was a lot of collaboration between miners. A lot of people, you know, despite the fact that one person would have like 5 or 6 Rorquals out, there would be a lot of collaboration between the two. There was a lot of social discourse and comms. People were always chilling with each other. Mumble was always full, and it was a good time. It took a long time to mine anomalies, which meant there was less moving, there was less APMs, and you could actually, you know, sit there and, you know, converse with each other, or watch Netflix, or talk about what shows you're watching, or watch shows together, instead of sitting there like a dank hacker man, you know, doing your Korean StarCraft APMs with your 16 miners that you have to do today, unfortunately. There was a large amount of rorquals out in space, which was very good for whalers. They were easier to hunt and to kill because there were so many, and they were all over the place, and there was large groups of them. There were lots of carriers, dreads, and supers ratting out in anoms. There was a lot of socialization on comms. There was a mix of crabbers and people waiting for content because whalers were a lot more plenty back in the day, so there was a lot more fragging to be had. And unfortunately, a lot of that stuff isn't there today. So, post-pan crab community, you have a lot smaller anoms, which favor subcap multi-boxing. A lot of people have more than like 10 miners out at the same time. So there's less collaboration between miners. A lot of people only get into their own little fleet and they never interact with anyone else. They don't talk to anybody. They can't talk to anybody. They can't even look at local half the time anymore because they're trying to cycle their miners so quickly. So that's upsetting. Like I said, it's a largely solo activity with your own alts. You don't really go ahead and collaborate between anyone else. You don't invite anyone to your own fleet. You hog everything to yourself. And there's a lot of frequent moving around, which is kind of a pain in the ass, especially if you have a lot of alts to line with. There is a tremendous less amount, I don't know if that sounds right, but that's okay, of rorquals out mining. I think I posted a stat a little while ago, because we were talking about it in the Horde Discord, I think around the summit time as well. Back in 2018, there was over like 120 rorquals dying every month or something like that for some amount of money. And the way that CCP ended up doing the industry redistribution and for caps and supers, because of all the mining changes that they did, now it's down to like 20 rorquals dead a month at best for almost the same amount of money. So cost inflated for caps. There's a lot less out there dying every month. So that's no fun because people want endgame content like rorquals, but also at the same time, it's less fun for people who want to whale and kill whalers because there's not much content to be had out there. So it's largely subcap mining, and it's easier to warp off those subcaps for safety, but on the off chance that you can't warp them off to safety, your panic protects your subs. And then what you do, if your subcaps are all next to your rorquals, you empty the entire contents of your subcap miners, and congratulations, you store them into your Rorqual SMB, and there's nothing to kill anymore, even when panic ends. So that's also something that's pretty shitty, and takes a lot away from people who are looking for content. So some of the other things that have happened, there's almost no carriers or dreads ratting in anoms, most alliances, because dreads have basically no survivability. You take 20 interceptors and you'll probably kill a dread. Most alliances abandon, so there's no dreads out ratting, even doing crabs. And if you don't have a home defense umbrella, you can't even run crabs, so you're shit out of luck there. Carrier ratting in anoms is dead, especially in this most recent iteration. It's just not worth it. Marauders are too good, carriers are too expensive. And then if you do have an umbrella, the carriers and dreads and supers that are out aren't running anoms, they're only running crabs. So it's really easy to hunt. It's not fun for whalers, man. So interference only shows those with umbrellas to run crabs, or only allows those with umbrellas to run crabs, because when you open up the in-game map, you can check basically in real time who's running a crab, because the map will update pretty frequently with when you start running crabs. I don't know the exact percentage per crab, but it's pretty accurate in real time. And then people mostly just run their 3 crabs and then log off, and they take their logged in defense with them. There's a lot less socialization going on comms. People mine alone. Comms are mostly filled with people who are AFK, just waiting for pings, doing housework, or working from home. And so that's something that needs to change. So PanCrab went ahead and introduced the Crab Buddy system. So basically we created a channel that used to allow new dread and carrier pilots to find seasoned crab partners to help run crabs. So in an attempt to bring back some kind of socialization or camaraderie, we did this thing where anyone who's new to crabbing go and post that they're looking for a buddy to go and run a crab with, and someone will go and contact you and be like, hey, I can run so many crabs, and then they can go at it. So there's been hundreds of buddy requests filled. It increases the safety of dreads because with 2 dreads, that means there's 2 cynos on grid, even though that doesn't really increase the chances of living because now they're both likely to go and fuck up their cynos. But it's also easier to thwart whaling attempts because now you can go and kill the mobile cyno inhibitors easier, and it gets people to socialize together. So we also created something called the sex market. Make sure to respect your sex workers out there. So basically what this channel is, for people who don't actually want to run crabs, anyone can go and link to them as long as you have like Anchor and free. So even if you don't run crabs, they offer the opportunity to make money. So we created the sex worker prevention. So what you do...
Close your ears, Space Pub.
So Captain Sooner owners... Captain Sooner owners, super owners who don't run crabs can sell their sex. The crabber provides the crab and then anchors it, and the person who is selling their sex comes and actually links to it, and the person pays them whatever determined amount that it is. It's kind of almost like selling an escalation, but kind of less so because with escalations, the prices are pretty set in stone for the most part because it's based on like actual loot payouts and drop rates and stuff like that. Whereas with the sex links, it's just kind of like some people, I've seen people try and sell it for anywhere from as low as like 20 mil a link all the way up to 100. Most people don't sell them at 100. It's kind of a highball, big dickhead kind of thing to do. But it is pretty successful. And then we also have moon rentals for people who want to try and use their oracles a little bit more because unfortunately, even more unfortunately after Metanoxes and how cheap they were to run, it is one of the few places to use works in kind of like a sustainable setting, I guess you could say, because you can sit on some of the moon rocks for a while and there's not a lot of moving around. But basically any unwanted moons by the Alliance get rented to miners and then they can go and put up their own Athanor, and nowadays they can also go put up a Metanox if they want. Oracle owner buys or builds the Athanor, we anchor it. The renter pays a rent based on percent values of the ore, based on the ore's processing value. And rent can be anywhere just from 8 mil a month for like an R4 moon all the way up to 450 mil a month for an R16. We don't rent out any R32s or 64s. And then you just pay monthly rent. And you can set whatever extraction period you want. If you want to do it weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, or every 2 months, it's on you. There's no rules for that. And then I'll leave off with this. It's actually, so it was funny that Pope brought up earlier the applications for AI, and one of the proposed applications was like threat detection or something like that. And I was actually joking with a couple of my FCs sometime within the last year. I was like, one day we're gonna go and replace all active eyes with like AI, who can like monitor staging locals and be able to go and detect, when someone's probably about to like undock a fleet based on who's logged in, and compare them to like whaling battle reports. So I thought that was pretty funny that was mentioned, because I thought of that within the last year or so. But that's basically all I have for you. That is the end of my presentation. I appreciate your time. Keep drinking and enjoy the rest of your Vegas.
Yeah, please.
Boson riding.
No, but it's like if they had nobody, then we're on their last performance. The big
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
No, Jen, look away. You can't see this.
No, I love American football. I'm a Chargers fan.
Hold that. Finish football here.
This time.
Some people slightly.
Yeah, I mean.
You call soccer football, people are like, wait, what?
Yeah, I call them both.
You call them both football?
Yeah, both
post-presentation
Roll up on
interview.
some random person.
Hey, Satan.
Well, my team
Lonix is asking for a post-presentation interview. Yes. They just want to talk to you real quick.
Yeah. They seem like on paper they shouldn't be in this position, but they are. So we need to you know. What do you Yeah. I mean, to be fair to them, just 5 of their
Right here.
Well, like 5 of their first 6 fixtures were from Shop
Hello.
16. Like Liverpool.
I'm here for the post-presentation interview.
What's that's the excuse I'm going with.
He said, "Don't worry, Satan. Just enjoy Vegas, my guy."
Yes, I've been drinking copious amount of alcohol, staying true to my name.
What's the future plans for PK?
Future plans for PK in terms of what exactly? Because that can be anything, really. How much for me to be your sex worker? No price. Changes, improvements. So there's a couple of things in the works, specifically maybe about Sino beacons. I'm just kind of prepping everyone to be prepared for there to be like no more Sino beacons completely at all. Some people are kind of holding out hope that there might be some left, but I don't think that's going to be a thing. Revenant Simulus when? No more Simuluses. How difficult is it to be a Pancrab FC? So people are mostly correct that being a Pancrab FC is like brain dead easy. It really is. It's just following steps, and because you don't have to anchor up, you don't have to. There's really no like thought process behind target calling. Basically, anyone can do it, and it actually gives a lot of people confidence to go on and become like a home defense FC or a skirmish FC and go and do content tweets. Yeah, being able to communicate and doing stuff under pressure is definitely, even if you don't have that skill now, it can be developed as you actually do it. We have a lot of people who have come on and become a PKFC who have never done any PvP in their entire life, and they end up becoming pretty successful at it. And yes, things do occasionally go wrong and you need to act well under pressure, but thankfully we have a really good FC team who is around in pretty big numbers in all TZs, so everyone's pretty supporting of each other. We've got a really good team that we've helped develop. They do an amazing job of supporting each other.
I also don't really care. Football is probably the one.
Busa didn't even show up. Fuck you guys. I'm gonna have to have a talk with Dex, not supporting his new CEO. What's the challenges of leading the world's best umbrella? It is Pancrab. Leading Pancrab is unlike anything else that I've ever done in my life in the game. It is basically the equivalent of a 24/7, 365 babysitting service. You have to be giving it constant attention every single day. I basically can't PvP anymore because I have to be micromanaging FCs to make sure that they're filling slots, to make sure that those FCs are doing what they need to be doing in those time zones, that they're responding to threats accordingly. If they're making mistakes, going over what mistakes they're making, reading AARs, doing SRP. And while I've gone ahead and I don't remember the word for it, but I've given out a lot of tasks to different people over the years, but it seems like with every task that I've given out for people to help me with, 2 more take its place. So I'm here until basically the servers shut off doing this. Plus 1 to expand back into AUTZ. So the problem with AUTZ, specifically for Pancrab, is the fact that whalers basically outnumber any defense that we get by like 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. So it's a rough situation. can we please use Titans as response ships? Titans don't do anything other than kill dreads, so unfortunately not.
Hey, you're doing your job.
PKFC dinner at FanFest? Maybe. If I go next year. You are going? You're going to pay for my hotel?
Especially like my hometown is just way. It's an access to
Oh yeah.
Buff ANSYs. I think ANSY, there's like changes that I would want to see to ANSYs, but buffs, no, I don't think we need buffs. Yeah, Attack F was never great, sorry.
Cool. I appreciate you, dude.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, sir.
I've had a pleasure being on the stream. Glad to meet you. I'm sure I'll see you around. You flying out tomorrow or tonight?
No, we're leaving here shortly. We'll go back to Phoenix and then start everything over again tomorrow.
Gotcha.
Titans as response ships. No.
Now Titans for PKFC. Just run your crabs, don't be poor. Bank your doubloons from your hours. Come on. I have like 250 bill, almost 300 billing. Just be like me, just run more hours. Hail Satan. Alright, man. So,
all right,
I guess
thanks,
that
dude.
concludes everything.
Yes, sir.
I said it was nice meeting you.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully you guys get back
Got a couple
on.
of questions for you.
Yeah. All good. I'll hit him with a little. Hit him with the dab as I get out of here. Alright, see you guys.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Lost some respect. The dab is old.
I was making a joke because human eyes have a tendency to misinterpret local spikes and spikes and doctrines and stuff like that.
Thank you. I can't read your name. My glasses. Sivir. I can't read it. My God. Thank you. Hold on. Any more sessions today? Let me go find out who is, if there's anybody going to be talking next. I'm not 100% certain. Let me go ask Greydor. Oh, my wife went over there. Okay.
It'd be really cool if like AI at some point
That's it? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to give you one more look around the room. This place is called the Composer's Room. Let's just go through. All right. Hang tight. I'm gonna take you through a walkthrough of the Composer's Room. Pretty nice little place, man. If you ever want to do something, this is it. They got the DJ back over here. He's not wanted by the FBI, obviously, because he's on cam, so. All right. There's my beautiful wife. She's trying to stay out of camera, but no, I'm not going to have it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and we are going to raid out. So, if you would, do me a favor. Throw somebody's name in there to raid into. Who are we going to raid today? If I have a mod on, can we throw a poll up? If no mods are on, that's fine. Just somebody give me somebody to raid into. Oh, Tiagi's on? Hell yeah, we'll do Tiagi. We're gonna raid into Tiagi. y'all have a wonderful day.
Oh, I bet I do.
God damn it.
Oh, just like. No, the real one? No, oh, yeah.
I already got it. Yeah. So that's that, and then I got the third. Yep. You guys can, whenever you guys are done, you can leave what you guys have there, and I'll put it in everything.
Thank you. You're the
Thanks,
best.
Vanessa.
You wanted a Coke, right?
Everybody say thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you, Vanessa. You're the best.
Welcome. I knew somebody had the Coke.
You're right.
Yes.
Rock star.
You want one coffee?
Yeah, she's a
Yeah, you're right.
Superstar.
That's all I know about smells.
That's so you can get extra volume.
All right. Y'all have a good day. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Go to Vegas next year.
Come to E Vegas next year. We'll have some fun. We're out.